Okay, good evening, everyone. And to so many of you, Happy New Year. So many of you, we are meeting for the first time this year. So I want to welcome you to this incredibly powerful webinar, as you're going to see in a moment, how to break your lack of capital jinx and come out of debt in 5 days. So many of you, Happy New Year. Okay, just give me a second. I'm getting an echo, some technical situation. I will deal with it and then I'll be right back. I want to welcome you to this incredibly powerful webinar, as you're going to see in a moment, how to break Right, that has been sorted out. So welcome to the how to break your lack of capital jinx and come out of debt in 5 days. At 43 years of age, I lost $100,000 in family savings. That is a lot of money in any currency at any time. And this was in 2000. I lost it to money scam. At the same time, I owed $40+ million to 3 banks and one other stockbroking firm. And I found myself without job. No. Isn't this going to be extremely interesting? Because this is a true life story. This is not the kind of marketing that we find in social media when people come and then they show you and they show you amazing bling bling and things like that. But this is real life. And I'm trusting that somebody here today will walk out of this place with incredible deliverance. Now, why am I doing this? A couple of reasons. But before you introduce yourselves, many of you have been seeing this kind of headlines. Very, very, very sad headlines in recent times. And in fact, the other one says that because of hardship in the land, that suicides have spiked. And also in my work as a coach and in my work as a very, very highly publicly, socially exposed person, I meet on a regular basis people who come to me and who say, I want to take my life because I owe money and I can't pay back. I remember a gentleman from Calabar who read one of the things I posted on Facebook and reached out to me. This was exactly what he said. He said, sir, I wanted to take my life because I owe this money to the bank. They are peppering my life. I cannot pay back. The interest is running. I have looked left, right, and center. I cannot find a way to repay this debt. But when I read what you posted, I decided to give myself another chance. I decided to give a chance to see if the things you posted were true. That was how he was saved. So people are finding it extremely difficult to take control of their financial life. This is why I'm doing this, because I have gone through this myself, and I can tell you there's absolutely zero justification, zero reason for anyone in debt to take their lives, because there is a way out. I've been through that fire and out, and I'm going to be sharing with you very, very powerful, practical, actionable strategies that anybody here who is in debt, or you know, or you have a spouse who is in debt and he doesn't sleep or she doesn't sleep in the night because the debt keeps him or her awake, listen very, very carefully. This is very, very practical. And I'm going to be sharing with you exactly what I did and what you can do to come out of debt and to raise capital. Please do not hurt yourself. And I plead with you, do not hurt yourself just because of debt or financial problems. Every problem has a solution. Every challenge has a how. And I'm going to be showing you exactly what you're going to do. So, but before we go on, I would like to know the people in the room. So please introduce yourself in the chat. What's your name? Where are you joining us from? I've seen a couple of people from UK, somebody from Liberia, somebody from Cameroon. So introduce yourself, possibly what you do, and then in the chat, put where you are joining us from, the town, the city, the country you're joining us from. Okay, so let's do that very quickly. Everyone, please do that very quickly. Introduce yourself. So, and I'm going to have the privilege to call your name, to mention your name in this recording. So let me take a look at the chat. Okay, Dixon from Ikeja. All right. Pastor Gosinuche Chiku from Abakaliki in Ebonyi State. Broderick is joining from Lagos State. Peter from Abuja. Oh, Peter Coker said, did you say 40 million? No, not 40 million USD. It's 40 million Nigeria. Of that time, 40 million. In fact, at that time in 2007, the Naira was about 80 Naira to the dollar. In 2009, the Naira was about 145 Naira to the dollar. So that was a lot of money at the time. It's still a lot of money today. Okay, so Peter, that was 40 million Naira, not 40 million dollars. Thankfully. Okay. Lincoln is joining us from Liberia. All right. Chief Obinna is joining from Abuja. Okay, we've seen Dixon. All right, Linda is joining from Warri. Okay, John is joining from Liberia. Magnus is joining from UK. Uche from Mina. Ayuk from Libreville. Libreville is where? Where's Libreville again? Is it Gabon? Okay, Jeremy from Rwanda. Bumi from Ibadan. Okay. Mr. Gama is a farmer. Yeah, I'm a farmer too. Farmer from Ghana. We have Victor joining us from Akure, Dr. Johnson Osage from Abeokuta, Kingsley from Accra, Iyabode from Lagos, Ebuka from Onisha, Gabriel from Port Harcourt. All right, you are all very, very welcome. Kingsley is joining from Denmark. Patrick Mepe from Germany. All right. So we are represented. I haven't seen US yet. I just want to make sure that all the continents are here. All right. Okay, very good. Now, the second thing that you are going to do, we are going to do for everyone here. All right, that's going to help me a lot. What tough question about your financial situation do you want answered today? Put it in the chat. What tough question do you want answered today about your financial situation? You can use this format if you like. Today's webinar will be meaningful and memorable for me if your financial question is answered. Okay, Lekon is from Manchester. Marianne is joining from Austria. Okay. Okay, so type in the chat. What question do you want answered today? What would make today's webinar meaningful and memorable for you? In particular, your time is very valuable, and I really want to thank you for deciding to spend this time with me. I love doing it, and I love meeting with people from all over the world, and I love sharing my experience. Many of you have read my articles, and they are quite vulnerable. I tell you everything in the open on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and many of you join because you're familiar with my article. So I thank you. So now your time is valuable, my time is valuable. What would make this time really, really worth it? What would be a very excellent way to honor your time today? All right, I'll be happy if I can find the way to become financially free. Okay, Patrick says raising capital for projects. All right, Binta says, if I know how to get capital to start my own business without getting in debt, you are in the right place, Binta. Okay, I'm currently in debt. Okay, let me just put this in a wider format so I can see as they're all coming. All right. I'm currently in debt and it's weighing on me. So I would like practical ways to get out. The interest is carrying and the harassment. Oh, welcome. You can't wait to hear my own story with harassment and interest. All right, Timothy says, first, how to clear debt and how to raise capital. Awesome. Okay, Chukwebuka, raising capital without involving banks. Fantastic. All right. And those hedge funds. Okay, Peter wants to make new connections with like-minded people. Fantastic. There you go. All right. How to get a long-time engagement to build wealth. Dosu says, understanding capital, understanding how money works. Today's webinar will be meaningful and memorable if I'm able to ascertain how to raise capital to start my business. Awesome. Okay, Kingsley says, raising funds without borrowing. I guarantee you, you are perfectly in the right webinar. So let's get right into it. Okay, now let's start by sharing with you the financial fitness formula that I work with. Okay, the financial fitness formula. So this is a summary slide, and then we are going to zoom in on one of them. So to make it very easy for you to remember, I have used the acronym DREAM. How do you measure financial fitness? You see, just like you have financial fitness, you have, just like you have physical fitness, you have financial fitness. There are three kinds of fitnesses, if you like, three kinds of fitness. You have spiritual fitness, you have physical fitness, and then you have financial fitness. And I can guarantee you, you cannot do without any of them. You cannot say, okay, I'm spiritually fit, therefore, I don't need financial fitness or physical fitness. It's impossible. You cannot say, I am financially fit, and then you don't need spiritual fitness. It is impossible because they all go hand in hand. So I want you to type in the chat and then to make a note, write down in your journal and type in the chat, financial fitness, actually spiritual fitness, physical fitness, and financial fitness. And I'm going to show you why you need to pursue all of them at the same time. Because if you make all the money and then you're financially fit, you have great investment, you have assets that are bearing dividends and bearing cash flow, but you are not healthy, but you have a failing organ. Your kidney is failing. Your heart is failing. Of what use is that fitness? So you have to talk about three of them, always together. Spiritual fitness, physical fitness, financial fitness. And then many of you see me running every day, and I put out a lot of videos every day. It is very, very deliberate. It's very, very intentional. So what is a dream for financial fitness? The first one is discipline your spending. It is impossible to be financially fit if your expenses outweigh your income. It sounds very simple, but you will be amazed how many of us get in trouble because we don't keep that very first one. Discipline spending, that is number one. If you must be financially fit, one of you put in the chat that you want to create wealth for a long time. The place to start is fiscal discipline. Disciplined spending. Number two, raise income. If the income you were making 5 years ago, if your salary was 1.2 million naira 5 years ago, and today in 2024, you are still earning 1.2 million naira, you are not raising your income. And as well as you know, both in Nigeria and in Ghana, because Ghana is also my second business home. I have a company, a consulting company based in Ghana. I have a Ghana office. So I saw how the cedi went from $1 to six cedi to where it is about 12 or 13 right now. So Ghanaians in the chat, you can just let me know what the new rate is. Meaning that 1,000 cedis 3 years ago is not 1,000 cedis today. So raising your income and finding ways to constantly add additional streams of income to your wealth is critical. The E in the dream stands for eradicate debt. Eradicate debt. As I'm going to tell you, it is impossible to be financially free when you have this kind of debt hanging on your head. All right. So, and I can give the benefit of the doubt. People talk about good and the bad debt. All right. So let me talk about the very bad debt. Okay. So you have to eradicate debt. The A means accumulate savings. You must have savings. You must develop the habit to put money away. Don't start telling me, oh, but inflation. No, no, no. Saving because you want to develop the habit of saving, because if you cannot save, the seed of greatness is not in you. If you cannot save money, the seed of greatness is not in you. Now, saving doesn't necessarily mean that you save the money and put it in the bank where it will continue to go down in depreciation. But like what I do personally, I have a stockbroking account. And so my savings, I put in the stockbroking account. It can be as small as 10,000 naira. It can be as small as 5,000 naira. It goes there. And the good thing is it is very liquid. In other words, instead of putting my money in the bank to continue to lose value, I put it in my investment account and I invest with it. And it is liquid. In other words, if I have to solve a problem today and I need cash, I can sell off some of the shares I have in the market. In fact, I have good news for you. For those of you who are going to join the challenge, I have a relatively new book I wrote on investing in the stock market, and it's very, very step by step. Okay. And then if you want it, just put in the chat, I want it. All right. So you save because of the habit, not because of the money. And then anytime I need cash, I just sell. And then after 3 days, it clears and I get settlement. And then the M is maintain emergency fund. We don't do that very much in this part of the world, whether it's in Liberia or in Sierra Leone or in Gabon or in Ghana or in Nigeria. Many of us hardly maintain emergency fund, because when you ask people, they say, oh, I don't even earn enough money. That the money I make every month does not take my family to the end of the month. How can you even talk about having an emergency fund? But it's important that you have enough money put in some emergency fund that is at least worth 6 months to 1 year worth of your expenses. So that when there is an emergency, because in this part of the world, the only emergency fund strategy that we have is, who do I call? You know, something happens and then all of a sudden you start calling neighbors and start calling friends and all that. And then many times, you know, those friends and neighbors are going through difficult times. So they are not able to help raise the hospital fee or what you have to pay in that emergency. All right. That is dream. But today we are going to focus on that E, the third part of it, eradicating debt and creating, and also part of R, raising your income. Okay. So today's agenda has 3 major sessions. The first one, I'm going to start by telling you my story, how I recovered after I left Shell. That was in 2008. And I owed over 40 million naira at that time. Okay. I lost everything to 2 money scams, Nospetco and Wellzone, over $100,000. And then I restarted life with 0 capital. And I was 43 years old, 43 years old at that time. Put that number down, 43. And so if I did it at 43, you can do it in your 40s. And if people did it and they came out of debt in their 50s, you can do it. If people did it in their 60s, you can do it. That's what I'm going to share with you. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a powerful template that works for Africans. Some of you may be familiar with the work of Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is fantastic. You know, he's the biggest voice in helping people come out of debt in North America. But you see, Dave Ramsey has his own formula, a template that he uses to help the people. And it works because he has taken thousands of Americans out of debt. But you see, when you look at those templates, they don't work for us here. When you're looking at things like debt consolidation, you're looking at credit card debt. Most of our debt in this place, many of us sitting here, is not credit card debt. And so their template, why the principles Dave Ramsey teaches in North America are very powerful and authentic. We need something for us here that works for us in Africa. That is the debt-wise template I'm going to be introducing you to. Is it easy to pay off bad debt? No. So I'm not telling you upfront that it's easy busy. It's not going to be easy. But is it doable? Yes. That's what this template will help you. Then the last session will be on raising capital. There are actually 22 ways to raise capital from nothing. And I'm just going to talk about one today. During the 5-day financial fitness event, financial fitness challenge that is coming up 7th of May to 11th of May, we are going to do incredible deep dive. But today, I'm just going to talk about one method of the 22 ways to raise capital when you don't have any. And I will also share my experience, how I raised $15,500 from nothing using the Sell and Blueprint, which my mentor is 84. He turned 84 2 weeks ago. 84 years old, extremely wise man, entrepreneur, wealthy guy. So I'm going to teach you exactly what he taught me that helped me. Okay. So are we ready? Type in the chat, I'm ready. Are you ready to go? Type in the chat, say, I'm ready. I want to see I'm ready. I just want to make sure that someone in the room is feeling me, okay? That I'm not just getting excited all by myself, okay? I want to see I'm ready in the chat, all right? Type in the chat, I'm ready. Okay, so we're ready to go. Okay, so after today, please say bye-bye to debt. And not only to debt, you're going to get the confidence that you need to pay off your debt and to stay out of debt. Because one of the things that happens to a lot of people, it happened to me when I was in debt, is that loss of confidence. And especially when the banks come at you, the people you are owing come at you with harassment, with the debt collection agency, at some point, and then the bills are not waiting. You still have the children's school fees to pay. You still have house rent to pay. Does anybody feel me? So you are in debt, but you still have to pay school fees. You still have to pay house rent. You still have to buy food. And then it is when you are in debt that your car, that is when the transmission of your car will break down. Is when you are in debt that you wake up one day, you start the car, is not starting. And then they tell you, oh, okay, it's the Kickstarter. Then you call the mechanic. How much is Kickstarter? They say Kickstarter is 45,000. You say, oh my God. And then if it's like my Ghana brothers, they say, Aish, Charlie, Aish. So I was there. What do you do? After tonight, that is all going to change. And it's not going to be complicated, okay? Is anybody in the room? Has anybody been there? Or are you currently where I am? What I'm saying, is when you are in debt. Yes, Aish. Is when you are in debt that the car is breaking down. Is when you are in debt that your mother in the village is falling sick. Is when you are in debt that, all kinds of things, they are not waiting. So what do you do? That is what we're going to discuss. So I'm glad that you are ready with it. Okay, so let's start with my own story so that you can find inspiration. But before then, please, I want every one of you to make note of 7th May, 7th to 11th May, 2024. That is the Financial Fitness Challenge. We are going to have 3 batches this year. For me, is a crusade I'm launching. It's a financial crusade I'm launching across Africa, okay? Put down 7th to 11th of May in your calendar. At the end of this, I'm going to tell you what we are going to do in 7th and 11th of May, the 5 days that we're going to do a deep dive. Okay, so how did it start with me? How I recovered after I left Shell, owed over 40 million naira, lost everything in the money scam, and restarted with 0 capital at age 43. Okay, so it was in 2008 I quit my business to start, I quit Shell to start my own business. And of course, the business quickly failed. One of the things I discovered is the fact that you have been a manager in bank or even a general manager in some organization does not mean that when you quit that paid employment to start your own business, it does not mean that you will automatically know how to run your business. It does not work that way. Anyway, it failed, and it failed very quickly. And then some of you may have heard about Nospetco. It was popular in those days. So I had colleagues in Shell who were part of Nospetco. And then, just when, like they talk about Murphy's Law, things really want to go bad, and they go bad. For close to 2 years, they kept on dragging me to come and join Nospetco. The man who was the general manager of our cooperative, Shell Cooperative at that time in Lagos, he was part of it. Anytime I went to the cooperative office, he said, look at Obo, they've been paying me. Nospetco has been paying me. It was about 9% every single month. So in those days, if you had 1 million naira invested in Nospetco, every month they paid you 90-something thousand naira. It was very tempting. I said I didn't want to do it. Then I had another colleague in Shell. That gentleman, through Nospetco, he bought hectares of land in Ikorodu. He bought brand new BMW, all within a space of time, and then he took his family for whatever. So the thing was getting too juicy for me. And then I knew I was about to quit Shell. And I was like, okay, what do I do so that while I work on my business, what can I invest my money in so that when I work on my business, when I leave Shell, that thing can fund the family, pay the bills, pay school fees and rent and things like that, pending when my own business will start making money. So I hope you're seeing the mindset that got me into Nospetco. I had been resisting for more than 1 year to join that thing. But as the pressure was coming, oh, I'm quitting. I knew I was going to quit because I was going to take the package that Shell was given at the time to leave. And I now said, Nospetco was it. While we were doing Nospetco, another gentleman now came to tell us about Wealth Zone. So between Nospetco and Wealth Zone, I put all our money. And then guess what? Few weeks after I put Nospetco, and I refused because in those days, you could compound your interest, what Nospetco was paying every single month. But I chose the option not to receive my interest, so it was compounding. So one day, the central bank and the SEC woke up one day and decided, oh, these people are wonder banks, and then they slammed it. That was how since 2007, $100,000 I didn't save. And then I already had debt because I borrowed money. Some of them was a foolish mistake. It's because when you're salaried, something I call salaried prosperity, and so much money is coming, you're working in Shell, you're always sure of your money at a particular day in the month. Shell never came to say stories. Oh, okay, your salary is going to be delayed. So the thing gives you a very false sense of financial security. So I got into debt. To worsen the thing, my investment also crashed in the stock market in 2008. Some shares went, like, if I remember correctly, don't quote me, I don't remember the number, but I think First Bank had gone, which I invested in, had gone from something like 70-something naira all the way down to like 11 naira or 10 naira. And then because I was so under pressure, I sold off at big losses to meet immediate needs. Terrible. So things degenerated so quickly. I couldn't pay rent. I couldn't pay children's school fees. I couldn't afford the chill lifestyle. And then the worst thing, we had quit notices. And then ended up squatting with a friend in Lagos. Could you believe that? Could you believe it? So when I tell you that I have been in debt before and in capital mess, financial mess, you need to listen. How low your situation, many of you here, your situation hasn't even reached there. I was a family man with wife and children. I had worked in Shell and seen big money travel around the world, and I fell to the degree that I was squatting with my children and I couldn't pay school fee for my children. And many times they were driven home to stay. How bad could it get? How bad could it get? Okay, now there were so many surprises. One was one of the banks sent a debt collection agency. For the first time, I got to know about debt collection agencies in my life. Those people harassed the hell out of me. They will call, if I don't pick, like when they call 3 times and I know it's them and I don't pick, eventually when I pick, they will say, we know where you are. They were threatening. They say, we know where you are. We are even seeing you where you are. The threat was horrible, you know, and they came, repossessed my car and still came after me for the balance. The other thing that surprised me, and that is one of the major lessons for being in debt. Some of you here, I can almost guarantee that some of you, and then if it applies to you, just say, yes, me too. What usually happens, when you are in debt like that, the very first thing is that you panic. And then every shiny object, every get-rich-quick scheme that came to town, you jumped. You jumped not because you really want to. But you see, the people come, they make their presentation, and they tell you, oh, if you join RV option, if you join Forever, if you join Organo Gold, oh, you just need, go and bring 2 people you know who will bring 2 people and things like that. And then that within a short time, you will get a house in Sugar Land in Houston, and then you will make millions. When you talk to a man in my situation, I will jump. I will jump, So I was into all kinds of things. I tried Forex trading. I did Bitcoins. I did everything. But ladies and gentlemen, the debt did not go away. If this has happened to you, or is happening to you, please type me too. Type me too in the, let this thing flow. Let me know I'm not alone. Let me not feel too bad. Just type me too. If you have found yourself joining a get-rich-quick thing in order to raise quick money to pay your debt, I beg, put me too in the chat. Yeah. That is how I ended up doing literally all the network marketing, everything that is in Nigeria, anyone that came. And then they will always come to me because I was very, very, I was on television. I was very, very exposed. And they always thought, if we catch him, if Obo comes, so they came after me. I joined literally all of them, but the debt did not go away. So now, let me begin by telling you the lessons I learned. Number 1, many big salary earners are in debt. Why? Big salary does not shield you from debt. My goodness. When I look at how much money I was earning, I was in the top 1% earners in the whole of Nigeria. Of 180 million people, 200 million people, I was in the top 1% working in Shell, working in Chevron. But you see, the greatest enemy of high income earners is called Parkinson's law. Why? Because expenses will always increase to meet income. When you earn more money, your needs become more, and you may end up spending more. Okay? So financial freedom has nothing to do with the size of your salary, but it has everything to do with your financial literacy. Number 2, get-rich-quick schemes are not reliable in paying off debt and finding your financial freedom. Why? Because the laws of patience and financial wisdom do not let you off the hook simply because you're under pressure. Patience will still finish his work. You cannot do shortcut when it comes to building wealth. Again, the financial mistakes that took you 10 years, you may not clear them in 10 days, but you can start. So what do you do with Get Rich Quick programs? Use the time and the money to invest instead in personal development. That was my lesson, because ultimately it wasn't the Get Rich Quick schemes that helped me. It was my personal development. Number 3, relationship building. I cannot emphasize this enough. Now, I'm already beginning to give you the secrets to coming out of debt. Stop pursuing money. Start building relationships. Oh, can I say this again? So more than anything, relationships took me out of debt. Money cannot do it. You can never earn enough money to catch up with your debt. You can never earn enough money. When you are in debt, you can never earn enough money to pay your bills. It's relationship. The man who gave us a place to stay was a relationship I built within the neighborhood where we lived in Ogudu GRA. And we just met as we were jogging one day. And then we struck serious relationship that still endures till today. Imagine if I didn't make that friend. Imagine if I didn't reach out to him. Imagine if I didn't, open up, that avenue for relationship. We could never have found that place to stay when we needed it. My first big break, after all these things happened, and when these things were happening, was with multi-choice and MTN. And it came through 2 separate relationships. And I'm going to tell you about them. Now, again, when you owe, and then when the bills are coming at you with staccato, relationship will save you. We had 3 friends who at different times, incidentally, they were all 3 women, family friends. We did not ask them, because one of the most difficult things for people like me is asking people for money. I can't remember doing it. Do you know that these people, on their own, individually, at different times, they wrote post-dated checks, because in those days, checks were still we were not doing this transfer that we're doing today. One of them wrote 6 months post-dated checks and gave to me. He said, "Oh, boy, I know things are hard for you, but even if it's to fuel your car or to buy food for the family." So she wrote it at a particular date every month. I will cash the check. Another woman did the same thing, her own. She did 3 months. And another person did 3 months. Ladies and gentlemen, relationship, my Igbo people say, "Onye nwe mmadụ ka onye nwe ego." It means that whoever has relationship, good relationships, is bigger, stronger, better, richer than the person who has money. Do you know that there were those times I couldn't pay school fees? Up to today, as I'm talking to you, okay? Our last child left secondary school about 6 or 7 years ago. So this thing up to 9, about 8, 9 years now. Somebody went to my son's school and paid off his school fees and instructed the school not to tell me. Up to today, I do not know who did it. So if there's one strong thing you must pick up from this meeting tonight, give attention to relationships. Many times the family is your first line of defense, but because you've broken the cords that hold you together as a family, you've left toxicity everywhere, malice, all kinds of things, terrible words you use against family members, and you are not in peace. You can't. And so total strangers send me messages on LinkedIn. My family, I don't have money to feed my family today. Can you just send me 10,000 naira? And I'm like, goodness gracious me, where are your elder brothers, younger brothers, sisters, aunts, in-laws, all these people? My goodness. Those people are incredible capital, but you've got to relate well. You've got to be on good terms. Many of you have not spoken to your younger brother or to your elder brother in the past 2 years. And some of you say, "I will never talk to him again because of what he did to me." Now, when you are in need, you can't talk to them, because it's not just when you are in need you go to. Do you feel me? Say yes. Say yes in the chat. All right. So I actively sought mentorships. I actually went, and then I went mostly to old people. My youngest mentor is 72, 73 this year. All the others are in their 80s and their 90s. And I spend time, when I go to meet Elder Nat Okoro, one of my mentors, Uncle Nat is 93 this year. I go with paper, and when he's talking, I shut up. Because when a 93-year-old man is talking to you, good God, you begin to understand that wisdom is much more powerful than riches. Go for wisdom, forget riches. The wisdom will bring the riches. That's what I learned going for mentors. Lesson number 4, providence. God has got your back. Do you think that all these things you are doing that he doesn't know? The God factor when it comes to paying off those debts. I am not saying go to church, all these places, they meet prophet, and then they will tell you miracle money, raise your phone. And that's not what I'm talking about. I never prayed for miracle money or went to Solution Mountain where they whatever. Those things, I don't find any biblical wisdom to do that. But it does not take away from the fact that God cares. He cares. And this is particularly important also for your mental health. Because when I finish going around the day and I'm beaten by the weather, by everything, and all this debt and all the debt collection agency and all the harassment, I come back and then I hear God saying to my heart, do not be anxious. Say, be anxious for nothing, but in all things, with prayer and supplication and thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to me. And he said, and my peace that passes all understanding, because you can still have peace. You can still enjoy peace with a 100 million naira debt. You can still enjoy peace with your 30,000 CD debt. That's the God factor. Now, when God kicks in, things begin to happen that you didn't orchestrate. Because one of the banks I was owing just woke up one day, just one day. We woke up and I got a credit alert, 10 million naira. Balance 00. I did not orchestrate. And this bank, a day, the week before that time, they harassed the hell out of me. So it was sudden. It's only something that God could have done. And not once, not twice, did people anonymously pay my children's fees. How can you explain that? How can you explain that? If King David said, only a fool says in his heart that there is no God. And I'm emphasizing this because if you understand the God factor, you will get the confidence that you need. That, look, you don't need to take your life because you will come out of it. It might take 1 year, it might take 3 years, it might take 7 years, but God has got your back. And while these things were going on, in the middle of the debt and the harassment, I got to work with Stanford Seed of Stanford University. Can you imagine? I mean, from nowhere. And the work that I did for them, it wasn't that I was the most qualified. It wasn't that the most qualified. God's hand was in it. And as I talk to you, all the children have completed school. Okay, the last one is graduating in a month or so, full scholarships. I cannot tell you that, I can't tell you how I did it. And then I did not fall sick. My wife did not fall sick. The children did not fall sick. Who made it happen? How can you say that there is no God after listening to this? Okay. Now, I'm not completely out of the woods. I still have some of them. I still have a little bit. Some of the debt are in dollars. But God has got my back. I need to pause at this stage. Please type in the chat. I'm getting excited. Type in the chat. God has got my back. Everybody, type in the chat. Because this is one of the most important slides. God has got my back. Type it. What is debt? What is debt that you go and kill yourself because of ordinary debt? Do you know how big your God is? What is debt? What is $1 million? Type, God has got my back. And as you leave tonight, tell yourself that, write it, put it somewhere boldly in your bedroom, everywhere around you, on your phone. God has got my back. Yes, God has got my back. God has got my back. So There is no amount of loan that is bigger than God. There's no financial situation that you find yourself right now that is bigger than God. No way. Okay, so that's lesson number 4. Okay, so now let's move up to the second part. Let me introduce you very quickly to the debt-wise template to pay off your bad debts and avoid new ones. Even if your financial challenges persist, even if you don't have money, income to pay for it. Okay? Now, why, first of all, you've got to come up with a very strong reason to pay off your debt. That's actually why I started. Do you know why? Because many people in Nigeria, many people, I don't know about Ghana, I don't know about Gabon, Cameroon, Liberia, and all these other countries there. But for those of you in Europe and in America, you know you must pay. But in Nigeria, big people, big men actually go to borrow money with no intention to repay. And they borrow billions with no intention to repay. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And then, therefore, if you really want to pay off your debt, the first step is to determine that you will pay it, to give yourself a why you should pay off your debt. So I give myself 4 reasons. Number 1, I need my personal freedom. I want my conscience to be clear. I don't want to owe anybody. And I don't want to owe anybody going to the grave. God forbid. And I need my personal freedom. In fact, the way I used to run from my landlord, because I owed that man. I owed him a rent. In those days, 1.2 million naira in rent of money in those days. And so if this man was coming from the left, I took right and I went, I could do an additional 5 kilometers just to avoid him. Something that I would have done like 50 meters. I would do 5 kilometers. It's terrible. I don't want to live like that. Number 2, the borrower is a slave to the lender. It doesn't matter how you think about it. And then even if you borrow and don't intend to pay back, that is terrible. Lots of people are doing it. You are still a slave to the lender. Until you clear your debts, you have to go by their rules. And number 2, part of this is that you cannot start your financial freedom journey until you pay off your debt. In fact, part of that journey is to pay off your debt. Third lesson, or third reason to pay off my debt, because high levels of debt can restrict your ability to make significant choices in life. If I'm in debt, you know, someone was telling me a very interesting story the other day. Somebody owed her money for many years. And then one day she saw that person who was owing her money in a brand new car. And I'm just thinking about it, the terrible things people do, because they don't really want to. If people want to pay their debt, they can still pay that. But see, if I'm in debt, I will not have the freedom to do certain things or to buy certain things I want to do because my creditors are watching. I can't go on summer when the bank knows they have my details, and I'm on social media every time. So one day they see me somewhere cruising in Norway or cruising in Bali in Indonesia or somewhere in Madagascar, you know, just chilling and all that. I'm sending all those messages, and then they see me. Do you know one of the banks came after me? They came to my office one day because there was a post, one of my posts that they saw on LinkedIn. They came and I said, look, I don't have. That is why all those posts, if you look at my posts, you see, I don't booger like all these people. I tell you things as it is. And many people who do the things I do can't even go to this level to start telling you. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. There are many people, all these people, they are wonderful, they are billionaires, everything is going okay for them. I'm not like that. I was bruised on the streets. I was bruised. I was battered on this journey. And I'd say it like that. So when they came, I said, look, that article you wrote, look at it. It's not telling you that I have money. and all that. They came, they sent a manager and one other after me. So when you are in debt, it limits your expression because the people you are owing are watching. How can you say you are owing me money? And then the next day, I'm seeing you in business class flying to go for a football match in Manchester. Are you kidding me? And then number 4, the wicked borrows and does not pay back. The wicked, I did not want to be called the wicked. The wicked, I mean, so God says that the wicked person borrows. Do you want to be called wicked? Everywhere you are going, you're wicked. So when you borrow money, you have a moral responsibility to repay. Those who borrow without intending to fulfill their obligations are morally bankrupt. And borrowing and not repaying is a breach of trust, lack of integrity. And that thing will haunt you for the rest of your life. Imagine that. So I didn't want to be like that. That's why I committed to paying off my debt. So number 1, make a note to yourself, I commit to paying off all my debt. When you do, that's when God actually helps and begins to open up incredible doors. Okay. Now, what is the debt-wise framework? All right. So I put it in an acronym that also makes it very, very simple and helps you to remember. The D stands for determine your total debt load and its impact on your overall financial situation. Determine it. Know it. I'm going to take it. I'm going to expatiate on them, each of them. Number 2, E, establish a record-keeping system for informed financial decision-making and debt management. B, block new loan applications. You're already in debt. You don't want to dig further. T, tailor a repayment plan that suits your unique financial situation. W, widen your sources of income, including side hustles. I, invest in financial education and personal development. S stands for surround yourself with success-minded people who influence your financial journey positively. E, exercise patience and resolve, understanding that overcoming debt is a gradual process. This is debt-wise. So I can pause for 5 seconds while I would like you to take a screenshot of this framework. I need you to put it by your bedside, put it as your phone wallpaper, put it where you will see it, and it will empower you on a daily basis. Now, there's also a framework that takes you step by step in implementing it, not just talking about it. And I'm going to tell you how to get that, how to download that framework and start using it systematically. All right. So D stands for determine and physicalize your debt. I call it physicalize. I don't know whether there's an English word like that. But you see, the worst thing okay. So when I was in debt, I used to carry all of them in my head. Okay, I owe Access Bank this, I owe UBA that, I owe this man that, I owe this body $5,000. I used to carry those things. And I discovered that carrying these things that your head was not giving you to carry debt. So you need to put it on paper. This thing I'm telling you is simple. But if you go back after this and then you write all the debts and the people you are owning, just make a list of them. So you download it from your brain and put it on paper, because your head is not meant to carry the debt. It's meant to find solutions, to create ways to carry the debt. And major part of the stress, in fact, people even call it headache. Oh, this thing is giving me a headache. It's because you're carrying the things you should write down. You are carrying it in your head. So what I did in my own case, I wrote out all the debts. I wrote out all of them and the amount. And then I put a scripture on top of it. That thing is still in my bedroom, in our bedroom. And I put a scripture that says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in lack. I put it on top of it. So every day I wake up, I see it. And as I pay off, as I started paying off, I started ticking them. So I wrote it, I put it right in, as when I wake up, I saw it. And then by my wardrobe, I put it there. I saw it every time. So that was very powerful, because I put it under subjection. I was saying, listen, this is something you can't take control of me. I'm going to be the one to take control of you. All right. So physicalize your debt. Download it from your brain, put it on a piece of paper. Free your brain. It's amazing to create. Then step 2, establish a record-keeping system. Track your income and expenses. It's very simple as that. I remember when I was in Chevron, one of the worst things, one of the most puzzling questions I used to ask myself was, at the end of the month, where did the money go? Where did the money go? Something as simple as that. I don't know how many of us in this call, 9 out of 10 people are not doing this because I wasn't doing it. Just getting to know how much did I spend on groundnut and banana. It was difficult. How much does the family spend on gas in 1 year? Do you know many of us cannot say that? Like, how much does your family spend on food every month? Do you know many of us here, we don't have that. But it's so powerful. It's so important just knowing where does the money go. Step number 3, the B, block new loans. Resist the temptation. Build the discipline to resist the allure of new loans, especially now in Nigeria. I don't know if it's the same thing in Liberia, for those of you joining from Liberia and in other countries. There are all these people who harass me every day. Oh, we want to give you loan. Come and take loan. Come and take loan. So all these loan apps, we can give you so million within 24 hours and all that. Resist that temptation, okay? Learn from your past mistakes, okay? Like, I made serious mistakes that I do not do again. I remember in those days in Shell, whenever the union finished meeting and negotiating with the whatever, or maybe the company says, oh, there's a bonus coming, and then they're going to pay this bonus. When I got home, I will start spending, and my wife will say, sweetheart, don't spend money that you have not seen. Don't spend money that has not entered your account. But I tell her, this is Shell, the thing will come. So it became a habit. It got me into serious problems. And then somebody on this call probably has that same challenge. You spend money before. So learn from your past mistakes, okay? And then if borrowing is unavoidable, resist the temptation to borrow for consumption, to borrow to buy food or buy generator or buy something that is not bringing in money. If you must borrow new loans, make sure it is intentional. It is not for consumption. It's not to eat. Step 4, T, tailor a repayment plan. So have a repayment plan on that your list. Develop a list, prioritizing the debts, and then set realistic goals. So as money, see, what happened to me with my list was because I had the list and I had the figures across them. Whenever money came, I knew exactly where to put it. For instance, I owed my landlord. The man was in his 70s, and it was through that money that he was using to eat, but I didn't have the money. But see, one of the things I did for all the people I owed money, I kept in touch with them. I usually would call this old man. He wasn't under money pressure. He was a very good man, and his children were well-to-do. He wasn't under money pressure. He wasn't looking for money, and he actually wrote it off. But me, I decided I would pay what I was owing this man. So I put his own. His own was 1.2 million. So I put it there on that list. Ladies and gentlemen, it did not take 1 day. It did not take 2 days. It took 7 years, but I paid back that loan. Do you know how it happened? Because I had it on my list. 1 day during the pandemic, the so-called pandemic, something that I had done for a client and forgotten. This was like more than 1 year before that time. More than 1 year before that time. So I was just with my wife in the house, and then I got this credit alert, 1.4 million naira. Immediately I got it because that thing was on my list. I called the old man. I just called him, said, please send me your account number to pay. He was, for a long time, he was quiet on the phone. And what I read, he didn't want me to pay that thing back. But I insisted. So I said, please send it, sir. He did not send it that day, that night. He refused to send it. The next day, he did not send it. So the following day, I called again, please, sir, send it. Before he reluctantly sent his account, and then I wired that money into his account and paid. I can tell you that when you pay off your debt, angels literally sing, because the kind of freedom you have, spiritual freedom, the kind of, your conscience is clear, because it's trust, it's integrity. It's just powerful to do that. Basically, because I wrote it down. When that money came, I knew that that was what it was for, and I used it. Otherwise, that money would have gone into something else. Okay. W stands for widen your sources of income. Okay. Explore additional income sources. There are so many of them. During the 5-day financial fitness plan, I'm going to show you 84 things you can do. Everyone here can earn additional income. Who says that you will only stay on your salary? And there are so many opportunities to earn incomes, to supplement what you, monetizing your passion, monetizing your skill. There are all kinds of things that's possible. Okay, just give me a second. NEPA has struck. Just give me a second. All right. Okay, can you all hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up. This is the type that our people call village people, all right? So it's the electricity situation. In the middle of my talk, electricity just went. But just give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me okay? Just, all right, okay. Thumbs up, all right. Okay, are we doing good? Are we doing good so far? All right, so widen your sources of income. Who says that you can only stay with one stream of income? And then we are going to go into practicals, how to do exactly step by step, how to do that. Number 6, step 6, invest in financial literacy. Read and learn. Look at books, look at YouTube videos. Gentlemen, I can tell you, I spend hours every day learning from the best, learning, about money, about wealth, about business. Okay. And there's a lot of online education, and then participating in webinars and seminars like this, because I keep telling you to show up, because you never know. You just never know. You just never know where it is, the podcast, the webinar, the financial fitness challenge. It might just be on day 2, day 3, that you will meet somebody, or that you will hear something that can explode, that is worth $1 million for you. Okay, so invest in financial education. Okay, surround yourself with success-minded people, all right? Join support groups, connect with local or online support groups with individuals sharing your financial goal. Like Peter said, he's here today because he wants to make connections. I cannot emphasize enough that relationship, if you are going to come out of debt, 80% of it will be due to relationship, and only 20% will be due to money. Network positively, reach out, okay? Follow people on LinkedIn, on Facebook, in different places who are actually making sense. Not just people who are dancing and shaking their buttocks and then, taking pictures and, just making you laugh. Because what you need right now is not entertainment. It's not all those comedy skits. That's not what you need. You need to come out of debt first. And then you can watch all the comedy that you want and all the skits that you want. But now you need to come out. Now be patient, all right? Be very, very patient, because you do not build wealth overnight, all right? Understand that overcoming debt is a gradual process. Set realistic expectations for your debt-free journey. And then as you go on, celebrate our achievements, and then I usually encourage my private clients, some of you are here, to keep a gratitude journal. Because many times when you focus on your debt and your financial challenges, the tendency is to forget all the good things around you, is to forget all the blessings. So one poet wrote a song and he said, count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what God has done. You know, so every time I look at my gratitude list, and then the number one there, after God himself, is the woman that God gave me, my God. How much can I pay for the kind of wife that I married? This is our 29th year. Our 29th year of being married. Every day, so she's number one on my, because I look at what many men are going through. When men are telling their stories in their marriage, and the thing is so foreign to me. So do you know that if I have 10 billion naira and I have a bad woman and I don't have peace at home, do you know that that is hellfire? So there are so many things to count around you, and then you will be grateful. So I can be coming back, I owe 40 million naira, people are after me, the banks after me, the collection agencies after me. But then when the doors, I get home, and then I find this beautiful angelic woman open door for me and hug me and smile and say, food is ready when you are. The peace. Do you know, it just erases all those things. All those problems I had outside there with the banks and all the collection agencies. So I have an eraser at home, that erases all those things once I come in. And I do not take it for granted. So make list of the things that you should thankful for. I'm 58 years this year. I cannot remember more than 2 or maximum 3 times I've been hospitalized, that I went and slept in hospital. One was 1984 when I had a sports injury and I broke my knee. And so I was hospitalized in a hospital in Okigwe because they put cast on my leg. The second one was a day I spent in Shell Clinic because I had food poisoning. I ate something and then, I was stooling. I was, whatever. The other time, but I wasn't hospitalized, I was doing my youth service in Maiduguri and I caught typhoid, but they were treating me as if it was malaria. I wasn't hospitalized, but I just came back home. That was 1988 or 1989 when I was doing my youth service. And then my cousin, our family doctor, just made a prescription. And the next day I was okay. My goodness, do you know how much people spend in one hospital admission? So be thankful. Do a gratitude journal. In fact, this is another pause and learn. This is another, what do they call it? Like when Nigeria, when they say 7 bosas or something, all right? This is the bomb. I think I want everybody to please go to the chat and write gratitude journal. That is something you can start right now. Forget debt. Put on this column all the things that you are grateful for. Okay? Don't just write it. Type in the chat. Like I've given you one example of what I'm grateful for the woman that God gave me, such that I can still sing in my house. When I finish getting battered outside, I still come back to my house and I can sing. My God. So put gratitude journal, and I would like you to also put just one thing. Put one thing in the chat that you are grateful for. Let us start dissolving our debt. Just put one thing. Yes, gratitude journal. Put one thing in the chat that you are grateful for. Let me call it out. What is one thing you are thankful for? Dan says, for my wife, for good health, gratitude journal, gratitude journal, gratitude journal. Okay, Surakat says, my health. Fantastic. Some of you have children who listen to you. Do you know what some people have? Do you know what some people, they have money, but do you know what they are going through? Do you know how many families, big people, whose names you read in the newspapers, who have reached out to me to help to rehabilitate their children who are, right from the time they were in 20s, 30s, now they're in their 40s? Nothing. These people have money. There's a lot to thank God for. So don't let your financial condition or your situation stop you from giving thanks every single day, morning and evening. Give thanks. And I can see a lot of things that you have. My family, the gift of life for my wife and son. Fantastic, gift of life and children, my health, my family, fantastic. And all these things are much, much, much more valuable than the money that you don't have. Very good. Okay, so let's get into the final part of it. The sell and buy blueprint, the fastest, cleanest way to raise money, to pay off your debt and fund your small business idea. Okay, now, so there are major actions for coming out of debt. Three major processes. Okay, I've given you the debt-wise. Debt-wise is the framework. This one is the process. Number one, control your expenses. Number two, create capital. Number three, cultivate discipline. So they all start with C. So they are very easy to remember. Control your expenses. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are owing a lot of money, you cannot go ahead and continue to live the way you used to live when things were okay. All right. And I can tell you there are so many young Nigerians living in Lekki Phase 1 that shouldn't be there. That shouldn't be there. There are so many people who have bought cars that they can't afford because they want to impress, their friends or their neighbors. And then they say, okay, they just want. Do you know, somebody was telling me about a young man who went to buy he just got money. He got like a big bulk money. He went straight to beggar in Lagos to buy a car. He finished buying the car. He borrowed a little money to add from his friend to buy the car. He did not have money to fuel the car he just bought from that place. You see, the fact that you can buy something does not mean that you can afford it. Control your expenses, create new capital, cultivate discipline. Forget all this social media, showmanship, and or whatever. You don't need it. People who are actually very wealthy don't come to social media to start showing you their houses and telling you about their cars. And all this Nigerian Hollywood, every day you see the person, oh, this one just bought 400 million naira house in Lekki. All those things, that's not wealth, I'm telling you. Because on the other hand, the next day you will hear that one of them, that he has kidney problem. And before you know it, they start calling everybody, please put whatever you have in his account to treat him. And you wonder, these Nollywood people who have so much money, all of a sudden they don't have money to treat. And how much are they trying to raise? 3 million naira. 3 million naira. You don't have 3 million naira. And then they start going around telling everybody, please bring money. Let's save this our. It's not once, it's not twice, it's not 2 times, 5 times. It happens every day. One of them just died. And then people had to make contribution. Cultivate discipline. Don't go by the things you see on social media. Be careful who you follow. Okay? Now, the number one obstacle for people in debt is the second one, creating capital. Because they lack capital. If I ask many of you here, your number one problem in life, you say is lack of capital. You have great ideas. You have dreams. You have small business ideas. But you don't have capital. Some of you have been waiting for capital for 1 year, for 2 years, for 7 years, for 10 years, for 15 years. If what I'm saying is true, just type true in the chat. Some of you have been waiting for capital for 2 years. It's slowing you down. Therefore, coming out of debt is a major secret. Creating capital is a major secret. So what is capital? Somebody said he wanted to understand capital. Very good question. I told you were in the right place. Remember your basic economics, Adam Smith and all that. We are told that there are 3 factors of production. And I replace that production with wealth. So you have land, labor, and capital. And of course, your land includes all the physical space, natural resources, which Africa is so blessed with. And then I also added internet today, because now we're having internet meltdown in most countries in West Africa. You can see that when the internet infrastructure is down, it affects businesses, it affects all kinds of things. So that is land. The second one is labor, your human effort and skills. Labor is what you use to transform the raw materials from land to finished products. Then you have capital. Capital comes in the form of man-made tools, machinery, equipment, houses, buildings, construction, infrastructure. all these things that are used in production. And I have discovered from my experience, and then as a coach to businesses, I have coached hundreds of businesses in Nigeria and then in most parts of Africa, especially through my work with Stanford University, Stanford SEED. The most formidable hurdle for many people in the journey to wealth is capital. So you begin to wonder, why was this not taught in school? Why were we not primary, secondary, university? The most important thing, we were never taught. Okay? And then capital kills dreams when you don't have it. Many of you are not where you want to be today. True or true. Many of you are not where you want to be today. And if you dig down, it's lack of capital. Therefore, knowing how to fund your dreams was the most important lesson that school never taught us. We cannot ignore the importance of capital in making our dreams come true. And look at it. That's why foreigners come into Ghana. They come into Guinea. They come into Liberia. They come into everywhere. In fact, recently, UAE, I believe, the Liberians on the chat can tell us, they are buying like 20% of your country in their so-called carbon credit thing for pittance. You're buying like 1 million hectares in Liberia for pittance. And then they will hold it for 30 years or more. It's because of capital. So then you find all these Chinese, they come into our place with small capital. And they can come with something as tiny as $100,000, and then they buy up a whole village. So capital is important. Don't neglect it. Don't stop thinking and learning about capital after this webinar. And then you go into any town you drive into, like the one I am in now. You see so many abandoned businesses, littering the whole place. Gas stations that are abandoned because the owner does not have capital for inventory to continue running it, all kinds of things, industries, okay? Therefore, we owe it to ourselves to learn how to create capital for our aspirations and future. And then this is one exercise I would like you to do. It's all part of the first 5 days. We'll do a lot of diving, all right? Why do you struggle with raising capital? So you need to know, because if you don't know the root of your capital barrier, you can't solve it. You've got to sit down and find out, why do I struggle to raise capital? Don't just think about it in your own head. There's a reason. There's a root cause. And I have something that will help you to do that. Okay? Second exercise, imagine that you walk into the bank today, any bank, and request for a loan of 100 million naira or 500 cedis, 500,000 cedis. Will they approve it? Now, if you can figure out why the bank will not give you, not because you want to, you actually need to do this exercise, not because you want to go to the bank, because for me, I will not encourage anyone to go to the bank. You only go if you have exhausted other sources of funding. And there are so many other kinds of sources of funding that all of you sitting here can use tomorrow and raise money. I will tell you about just one of the 22 ways today. Okay? Now, if you can find out that, it will help you to position yourself for capital. So, for those of you who immediately after this webinar are going to jump in and register for the 5 days of financial fitness challenge that is coming up 7th to 11th of May, you're going to immediately have access to this and download it. There are 28 reasons that the bank won't loan you money. And you need to find out. If you're a small business owner, particularly, you even need to find out. If you are a person, you need to find out. And out of these 28 reasons, you will locate yourself there. And then the next one will be, how do you remedy this? Because you need to be attractive to capital. So there is something I call, I just invented that, called a capital attractiveness index from 0 to 10. Like, are you the kind of person that when you enter a place, capital follows you? That is a 10. Or are you the kind of person that capital is in the North Pole and you yourself in the South Pole? That is 0. This will fix it. This will tell you what your capital index is. If your index is like 1 now, then it will tell you how to make it a 10. So keep this in mind. I'll come back to it. So now I went to my mentor after I left Shell, and things were just, raising capital was extremely difficult. The banks were giving me very, very heavy interest loan, and there was no way I could have survived that. And then they were making the conditions also very, very difficult. I said, I don't have capital to start my business and pay off my debt. How do I raise capital? Listen very carefully. Listen very carefully. Because when my mentor told me this, I had goose pimples. He's 84 this year. My mentor said, when you have money, Obo, buy and sell. When you don't have money, reverse it. Sell and buy. Oh my goodness. I thought somebody would be jumping up, somebody would be jumping up and then putting bomb emojis in the chat, right now. Because this very thing liberated me. And this very thing will liberate you if you actually catch it. He said, when you have money, if you want to start a business, then buy and sell. Go rent a building, go buy inventory, employ people, buy the machines, and then make the goods and sell. But if you don't have money, sell and buy. Sell, reverse it. So stop giving the excuse, oh, I don't have money. Everybody here can make money, can raise capital starting from tomorrow. And I'll tell you how I did mine. So now I'm going to tell you how I raised $15,000, actually $15,500, from the buy and sell model. Okay. The door to your initial capital swings open to selling. So let me just give you the key word. Selling. Selling sets you free. You do not need more deliverances from prophets in a solution mountain. The only deliverance you need to come out of this thing now is to build your selling skills. Many of us here have never sold anything, and then we are shy to sell because we have a wrong understanding of what selling is. Okay? All the funding you ever need is at the other side of sell. So my first big sell and buy capital, so I call it sell and buy capital. That is a capital you raise when you don't have money. It happened in 2009 when I sold a service. So now it started with a relationship. So I have a very wonderful brother, okay? Patrick, who knew the person who was managing HR at that time. God bless her soul. Some of you know her because she was quite popular. She's late now. So I had this man who knew the person. And then it was in conversation, casual conversation, that the lady said to Patrick, oh, this is what we want to do. And Patrick said, oh, I have a friend, who can do that. Then he comes to me and says, look, but these people want to do team building. Can you do it? Can you handle it? I said, yeah, I can handle it. And of course, the imposter syndrome is another thing, because these guys were going to bring 300. Okay, I'm not sure how this muting happens. Okay, can you all hear me? Just thumbs up. Can you hear me? Okay. So, good. So, MultiChoice was bringing 350 employees from different parts of West Africa and then from the whole country. It was a major thing. It was a major, major, major event. And then here was I, no money, nothing. And then, but because there was a relationship and a friend, because if my friend did not have that relationship with that woman, she would never have told him. And then if he didn't have that relationship with me, he would never have told me. Do you see why I said that relationship is more important in coming out of debt? So I prepared for it. I planned it. I put my family to work, the children, everybody. We designed team building games. We did all kinds of things, And then guess what? I told them that they will pay 80% down. Do you know that they paid? That is what you call supplier financing. Do you know that they paid 80% down? And then they will pay the rest. So with that 80%, I was able to mobilize. I was able to buy t-shirts. I was able to call friends. I got friends from Shell, friends from Chevron. I had left at that time, but I had my relationships. I said, come. And I knew that these people didn't need too much money, as much as I needed at that time. So I could easily just, pay them some money to come and help 350 people. Long story short, I did it. And then while I was doing the team building event for multi-choice, somebody who was a multi-choice, a lady who was a multi-choice, who knew someone in MTN said, we would like you to come and do this because she had 2 legs. We would like you to do this for us in MTN. Anyway, so from there, I did MTN. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you, be very honest, put it in the chat. If you have $15,000 today, how many of you will your life change? $15,000, how much? Somebody multiply that in at 1 times 1,600 naira now. That's almost like 20-something, that is 20-something million naira. How many of you, if you raise, be honest, just, in fact, I want to see this in the chat. How many of you right now, if you raise 22 million naira, will things, your financial situation significantly change? Put it in the chat. I know that 20-something million naira is a lot, it's small money, it's chicken change. But how many of you now, if you get 24 million naira, will your financial situation story change? Yeah, 24.8 million naira. Yes, it's a little money, but it can do a lot. Yes. Yeah, I didn't say my life will change you. Okay. Exactly. So what I'm telling you is not theory. It works. It works. You buy and sell. When you have money, when you don't have money, you sell and buy. Now, this thing is a system. Within this short webinar, we cannot actually dive deep to start actually take you step by step on how you are going to do it. But because I have done it, I have a framework. And during the 5 days of the Financial Fitness Challenge, you will get a chance to actually implement it, by yourself. So please, once again, put this date in your calendar. It is 7th to 11th May. Some of you I coach one-on-one are on this chat. I've already seen you are on this call. You know that I am not bluffing when I say that people pay 385,000 naira for one session with me, business owners. And then individuals pay between 200 and 250,000 a session of 1 hour with me. I'm saying this publicly, so I'm not bluffing. I am not bluffing. Some of you are here and you can confirm that. When some of you come for my 1-day retreat, leaders retreat, which we usually hold in Ikoyi Hotel, you pay anywhere between 160,000 naira to 200,000. But in this Financial Fitness Challenge, which is like a ministry to me, like a crusade, and something I enjoy doing, you are not going to pay 385,000 naira. Look at, I just shown you how you can raise 25 million naira. How much will you pay to learn how to raise 25 million naira from nothing? How much will it be worth? Just put it in the chat. If I taught you right now, step by step, like practically, during the challenge, how to raise 25 million naira from nothing. And I'm going to show you how to find out, to capture your passion, to capture how you are wired, your gifts, and then to capture products and services that you can sell. Larry says 25% of that. So no, so I'm not going to ask you to pay 5 million. This thing we are talking about, to spend these 5 days with me is ridiculously 26,000 naira, 26,500 naira. Okay, let me put it there so that the devil will be ashamed, on behalf of people who can't take this ridiculous opportunity. This is what it's going to cost you, and you have a chance to actually register right now, because you are going to see the link in the chat. But what is going to happen that day? All right. So you're going to learn how to add one more stream of income to your portfolio within 30 days. Like I'm saying, I'm not bluffing, because many of you here who have been working with me, you know that all this internet help and things like that is nonsense. As long as you are going to implement the step-by-step things I'm going to show you, you can add at least one lucrative stream of income in 30 days. You're going to learn 22 more ways. You just learned about one today to fund anything you are doing. Then you are going to receive a list of 84 non-capital intensive everyday money. Do you know what it means that every day you have 50 CDs, 100 CDs, 40,000 naira coming to your account, and there are people doing it. I also learned it from somebody. I also had a mentor, Godwin Umunakwe, who introduced me to everyday money. That was when I started discovering that 5,000 naira that comes in every day is far more powerful for you, financially speaking, than 5 million that will come in that you don't know when it's going to come in. So we have a system for doing that. And during the 5-day financial fitness challenge, I will introduce you to everyday money. Okay. Then you will also learn how to make money from the stock market. You know, recently, some of you saw the post I put on LinkedIn recently, because MTN had a very bad year. They lost money. They had a very, very bad year because of all these foreign exchange problems and all that. So there were no dividends and all that. And MTN is one of my major investments. Okay. And so people panicked, and then they sold off, and the thing came all the way down to 180. Then all of a sudden, the thing has gone up. I don't know what it was last Friday. It's gone up to 240 something naira or something. So let me just shock you how people make money, but you will never hear it about you never hear about it on social media, because this is not the sort of people don't come there and start telling you. But do you know that somebody who put in 10 million naira, a friend who put in 10 million naira 2 weeks ago or just a few days ago and bought MTN at 180 naira. Within 1 week, the thing has done 200, and I forget the particular, somebody can actually check it, and then I think it's 240 naira, 243 naira on something. 243 naira. Can you imagine what somebody made within 1 week? So why people are there complaining about how hard things are? I don't join that thing. You know, and people are abusing me on social media because I tell them I can't join that complaining thing, because there are ways. Nobody likes what the government is doing. Nobody likes how bad they think. But instead of complaining, sit down, calm down, stay with people who are quietly doing, because these are not the things I will come and tell you. The stories I've told you today, very personal. You've never heard me talk about it on Facebook and all that, many of the stories. But in this intimate presence, I can tell you, can I share these things with you? So you are going to learn how to make profitable investment in the stock market. And then finally, the health, this one about health. Many Nigerians are falling sick and they don't know. Many women are catching cancer and they don't know where it's coming from, even those who are eating healthy. And there are many reasons. And some of these things you will never read in the papers. But because I am so health, I don't know the word, it's more than being health conscious. I'm so intentional about my health and the health of my family. And so is my wife. The source of I go to find that everything that we eat in the family, I find out exactly where it comes from. So when the children were still home, and then we used to buy goat, we used to tell someone to buy a full goat and then prepare and bring to us. So one day I decided to go to that place in my 12 where they buy the goat and kill it. So I went there to buy the goat and then went for them to kill it and then to prepare it, you know, by myself, just to learn. And what I saw that they, you know, answered a lot of questions, you know, why so many Nigerians, and especially the women, you know, are catching cancer, and then the men, so much organ failure, kidney problems with 17, 25-year-old and things like that. When I went there, they killed this, I saw where they killed the cows and then the goats and things like that. And ladies and gentlemen, they were using used tires, to burn these goats. So they light the thing, they put the goat there to remove the hair. And I said, okay, this is where, because remember, my first degree was in zoology, was in biology, and I majored in genetics, cytogenetics. Car tires contains at least 350 carcinogens. And it is the same thing in many products and many things people are doing and then thinking that they're eating well and all that. So I go to where to buy beans, and then I have to walk through the whole market to find the one that they didn't put sniper in. I go to my 12 and I'm walking from store to store, and you will hardly find the one that they didn't put sniper. So people put it and they say, okay, just soak it in water and things like that. But do you know what you're putting in your body? So there are things you will not read in the textbook that, so I found that, remember I said that there are three kinds of fitnesses. There's spiritual fitness, there's physical fitness, and there is financial fitness. That is why that last one is very, very important. We need to return to natural medicine secrets that I'm going to share with you that day. You won't even hear it in medical schools. But now that some of the medications, a friend who is on diabetes drugs, he just can't cope. Diabetes and heart problem, he cannot cope. So something he used to buy like 20,000 naira is almost like 160,000 naira, and he doesn't have a source of income. He doesn't have a source of income. How is he going to cope? So, but there are things that these are things that you're going to learn that day. So there's something, first day, we're going to focus on fighting for your financial future. Second day, overcoming your capital barrier, okay, and creating your profit system. Day number 3, we will focus on monetizing your potential, another powerful way to raise capital. Okay, we focus on monetizing your potential, your passion, your knowledge, your skills. If you look around, I am in touch with a lot of young people who are making money on TikTok and Instagram, making soap, teaching people how to make bar soap. And then someone is charging people 1 million naira to teach them how to sew for wealthy people. And her classes are filling up. I myself speaking to you, there's someone we are currently paying 200,000 naira a session, a lady on Facebook that I'm currently paying, a lady on Facebook to teach me what she knows. There's another lady on Facebook that many of you will know if I mention her name. Somebody wanted to sell a product and said, I need you to give me access to your customer list. That lady said 1 million naira or not. And then this girl had to pay 1 million naira recently, 1 million naira to this person to just let her show her product to her community. Things are going on. Things are going on. Not everybody is complaining and joining with all these, Tinubu time and the songs that they are talking. No, not everybody is joining this. If you know what to do, that's why I'm saying that wisdom is more superior than riches. Day 4, you discover the power of everyday money. That's the day we're going to do everyday money. And then the final day, we will now craft a blueprint. So you walk out there with something you are going to implement every day. Okay? So again, as you register today, these are the immediate bonuses that you're going to get. So as I'm talking, I believe that the link for you to make payment is already in the chat. So these bonuses you're going to get free as you join right now. The debt-wise implementation, all right? How to liquidate that your 20 million naira debt, that your 40 million, that your 70, 100 million naira debt, and for some people here, even 500,000 naira debt. Somebody killed himself because of 500,000 naira debt. That was one of the headlines that we saw. That's terrible. That's terrible. Nobody should do that. Okay, so we are going to leave the payment open. Okay, we're going to leave it open for another 15 minutes of our time. All right, while I take questions and then we reflect. Okay, there are many payment options. This thing is very easy for you. All right, for the 26,500 naira, you can make a very simple transfer to the account, which I'm going to leave on the screen while I take your questions. You can also pay instrumentally, all right? So you may not have the 26,500 naira to pay at once. You can do 3 installments of 10,000 naira, which you pay now. Then you pay another 10,000 naira, and then another 10K and the 9K, as long as you complete the payment before the 7th of May. This is between now and May. For the price of 1 week of lunch, we will spend 5 days dealing with your financial fitness. Okay, so I will leave this on while you make your payments. For those of you who are going to, you can pay using online Flutterwave link, which you will also have, you should have it in the chat right now. Or if you make that transfer, just let us know while we are doing this, send a WhatsApp message or a message or something, just evidence of your payment, and then you'll be told exactly what next to do, right? Okay, so let's open this up for question. And then one other thing you would do for me, have you been blessed? Do you believe now that this time that you spent was one of the best Sunday evenings you've had in a long time? If you believe it, just say yes. And this is what I would like you to do for me. Go to that Telegram group. Do me a favor and just tell us, how wonderful it was, and then what you learned there, how you're never going to be the same again, through this, how you started a new chapter in your finances as a result. Just go there, give us that review. So that's a good kind of payback for me. If normally I would do this, and this is a session for you, you're already paying like 300 and something thousand naira to have this time that we've spent almost 2 hours together. But all I'm asking, just go there, go to the Facebook groups, go to the different places, to the WhatsApp group, and then give a review. Tell us, give a testimony, like they call it, a testimonial, and tell us how wonderful it was for you. All right, so while that is going on, we can take a few questions or comments. Yes? All right, sorry. What? Oh, website is down. I just heard that cannot be. No, okay, that cannot be. Okay, just a second. I think that you probably have the wrong link. Okay, just a second. There must be a way. Yeah, the website is down. Why is that? Let's see, why is that? Okay, can you put the www to it and then see? I hope it's not a general internet problem or something. They could just do what? Okay. All right. The website is down now. The team will fix it, but you can just do the transfer while we are talking. Okay. I will leave the bank account in right there. Is the Flutterwave working? All right. Okay. So if you also want to pay online, the Flutterwave is working. The Flutterwave is working. So you can also do that. All right. The single payment, Peter is asking about the single payment. The single payment is 26,500 naira. All right, let me actually put it here. 26,500 naira. Okay. So you can make direct transfer right now while we talk. Okay, so I see Lanray's hand up. So if you want to comment, want to ask a question, yeah, this is your time. You can just raise your hand and then I will call on you. So Lanray, you can unmute and speak.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Obo. Definitely, this will be my last comment. I was actually trying to make payments and I need to pay for 3 people. So I was having a challenge. That was why I raised my hand immediately. So because if we look at what we have now, we didn't actually have the amount we have for those that's going to pay twice or thrice. I need for once, so I need to just multiply by 3 and I make the payment to. Then I can come back, please.
Excellent. Okay, so that's 26,500 is right there.
Thank you. Thank you
very much, Larry. Okay. All right. Any other comments? Your comment can also be on what was your aha moment? What really hit you like a very big bump today? Yeah, you can unmute and also tell us. What is it you're working out with today? You can put it in the chat. You can also unmute and then tell us. What were your insights today? Okay. All right. So I would like you to take a snapshot of what you have. Take a snapshot, please, or just write down the account number. Let me give you a second to do that. And then thank you very much to all those. We already see your payments coming in. So thank you very much for all those who have joined. All right. So while that is going on, what questions do you have? Thank you very much. Thank you. I see Vivian's payment. I see Patricia, Mrs. SM's payment just coming. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to our time together in May. Okay. So what time of the day is the challenge? All right. So the challenge is going to run from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day. But before that time, actually, you have things to do. You're going to get videos. I'm going to give you videos. I'm going to give you